Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show. This is the special Tesla Roadster podcast that we do, and I'm Pete Gruber.
Mark Schaffner.
I'm Brad Luchek.
Brad Luchek is one of our engineers, and he's going to cover a couple of topics here. The main one being the laptop that we're able to send to customers to do problem diagnosis and resolution remotely, which saves customers a lot of money. One of the things that prompted us to pick that theme for this podcast was we had a customer that sent us a soft top, a Tesla Roadster soft top for repair. And what we do is we refurbish, rebuild these, even the steel cable that's in there. And if you're the victim of the rust dusting that those things go through, where the sponge layer in between the upholstery disintegrates, and you get all this red dust coming down constantly, that's another thing that gets completely resolved with this rebuild and refurbishment of the soft top. But he sent us not only the soft top, but he sent us a log file as well. And we want to remind all the Roadster owners that log files are a very important diagnostic tool in that they do a deep dive under the hood, oftentimes giving us glimpses into what's going on that doesn't even show up on the vehicle display screen. So it's an important diagnostic tool. And in advanced cases, not only do we do a free log file analysis, but we also send a laptop out to the customer to do a deep dive in the car with a laptop recording information from the car, and then a remote session, which is something Brad's going to talk about here shortly.
Yeah, we started many months ago doing remote support. And one of the things was that you had a customer that had, an error. They would have to either send it somewhere to have it looked at. There's some expense to that. A lot of times they'd find out maybe that could have been addressed, right there at their house, and they didn't have to send it away.
Well, didn't that start with somebody, in like the island of Cyprus or something like that?
Yeah, that was, I forget what the Azores or something, somewhere out there out in Spain.
Somebody has a Roadster on an island.
So there was one guy that in the Czech Republic, he was helping his friend that was 300 miles away. So we sent the laptop to the friend, and then I called the guy in the Czech Republic, and we conferenced everybody together. And I was remoting into one car 300 miles away, and he was translating for the friend. And we were able to get it done. Like, we actually solved some things as a result.
I mean, and that was
the main... like, how would you do that? Like, any other way?
Well, that was the main thing. It was going to be so costly to get that car off the island and get it shipped that it just wasn't worth it. Yeah. And we wanted to be able to help, so we figured out a way.
And so there's many stories like that since we've been doing it, that it's really helped a lot of customers. It also helps because what we do is somebody sends a log file. I'll complete an analysis of it. We'll look at the error codes that are showing, and then I'll do a report that explains what they are. And then a lot of times people have still questions. We're more than happy to schedule a call and answer questions you may have. And I think what it does for the Roadster community, it helps them feel more comfortable about what they're dealing with, because a lot of times you see an error code come up on a VDS screen, and okay, is there something wrong? Is this an emergency? And people get anxious. And so with some clarification on these error codes and having somebody talk to them, they're able to get, okay, here's some solutions. Sometimes what we can't solve there in a call like that, we'll send the remote laptop, as Pete was talking about. And there with the laptop and cables, we can actually plug into the car, onto the Roadster, and actually run some Tesla software, run some diagnostic software on the battery, on the PEM, and sometimes we're able to address things, especially firmware updates. A lot of times the firmware on the Roadsters, for whatever mysterious reason, we talk to engineers. They can't explain it. They just said sometimes it just happens.
It glitches.
It glitches out.
Place,
like
it crashes. Just like your PC, actually.
Yeah, it's very much like that. And so sometimes it just needs a reinstall, and so we're able to complete that. And I think with the Roadster owners, they're seeing that, okay, wow, I can solve this. I've done this as well. I've helped people, because it's all open source now, the software. Right. So some people are like, hey, can I have a laptop that has this software so that I can at least have some ability to troubleshoot that? I'll help them with that, but you have to have some technical know-how to do that. So they kind of have an idea whether they're comfortable with something like that.
And a special cable, which we also
special cable that we
manufacture, by the
sell.
way.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing that I want people here to hear clearly is, one, we answer the phone.
Yes.
You call us, we're there.
Yep.
That's right.
And we have engineering talent like Brad and others that are there to talk to you. And we don't immediately say, where's your credit card? Before we talk to you.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's actually a really important point, too.
You know, Gruber Motor Company has a number of free services, and that initial diagnostic, that consulting call is free.
Yes.
So we have a number of customers the owners that will call us with that.
Including the log file analysis. We don't charge for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is a clear deviation from what's available now. I mean, service centers are very busy. They do not answer the phone. When you call a service center, they redirect you to applications that you have to fill out. But here, we're pretty old school. We still answer that phone. We will talk to you, and we'll have dialogue.
Yes.
And what we're finding is with these types of tools, oftentimes, the car doesn't have to come cross-country for a fix.
Yes. We've several vehicles we saved from them transporting because we were able to fix it and address the issue there locally at their home. And they were very thankful for that. That was a big savings for them. Transport could be thousands, so that was a big, huge thing for them.
So to play this out a bit further, we are not a nonprofit. Our Gruber Motor Company is a for-profit corporation. And once we get past the initial free consult call, and it requires more than that, sending a laptop, and then a remote diagnosis with an engineer like Brad going through the laptop with the owner, then we have a charge for that. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about how that's played out.
Yeah. So we have a laptop that has all the Tesla software installed and ready to go. We have several diagnostic cables that we have to send out. Typically, we take a deposit for that, and that's typically like a $1,000 deposit. We charge only 2 hours of labor time for engineering. Usually our calls maybe an hour and a half, somewhere in there, 2 hours. So that's probably enough we'll need. When we do our call, we usually have to have access to internet. So sometimes I'll be remoting into the laptop and stepping you through some things if needed. Some people, while we're doing the diagnostic of things, let's say, for example, the battery diagnostic software, and we see the results, I'm able to review that with you right there in real time and explain to you what we're seeing. And a lot of times what happens is people are more comfortable about what they're dealing with, and they're like, you know what, I actually, instead of blindly, I have to send my car, but I don't know why. Now they know they need to send their car, and it's a much more comfortable process for them because they realize, wow, this is something I need to get addressed. Rather, instead of kind of blindly sending your car, you don't know what's going to happen. They actually know.
And then, from us as a business standpoint, the customer wins because in many cases, what do you say? About half the cases, I think you guys were saying?
Yep.
In about half the cases, the car doesn't have to come.
Yes.
We win because we are typically very, very busy.
Yes.
And if we can defer or help a client get their problem fixed in 1 2-hour session, then we're being more efficient with the number of people that we and we've got the work. So it's not this is just a matter of being able to help more people. So
yes.
We like it too. We like it too.
Yeah.
And what we're really doing here is we are dialing back in time. Tesla used to be able to provide this level of service, especially with the Tesla Roadster, when there was only Tesla Roadster. So we've really taken over that function. And it's been quite successful, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
And Highlander has a question related to this, too. Welcome, Highlander. Thanks for joining us again this morning. He says, as other Teslas come out of warranty, will you be able to use the same level of sophistication to repair and troubleshoot the new vehicles coming in?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yep. What we haven't talked about is some of the other tools that we've evolved and developed. Tell us about the AI functions that we use to help diagnose and troubleshoot.
Well, we built a custom AI for all the Tesla documentation that we had, and put that into an AI and trained it, and now we use that for all types of things in the shop. We have the mechanic shop team, they're using that for all types of things. Let's say even torque specs for just a suspension or things like that. And they're able to find that information more efficiently and quickly. And it saves a lot of time, labor time with research and stuff like that. So it's been helpful there. The error codes that we get via the, let's say in a VDS and a Roadster, we're able to look those up very quickly. It references all those documents, puts in a report of what that error message is and the solutions that it, to address it. I think the AI as a tool for us has saved a lot of research time, and we are able to pull up data very quickly, and it's been a great tool.
Yeah, it shortens the diagnosing time. It shortens, it reduces the invoice to the customer. And what we really did was we have years of knowledge base that we had collected for Roadster. And then when Tesla released their version and they open sourced, we combined those two into one powerful tool.
Yes.
So yeah,
it's been awesome.
One of the examples of, we've got Giselle Toner in Florida is chiming in. You guys are the best. Well, thank you, Giselle.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. I hope your Fusion Red Roadster is running well.
Yep.
Instagram, my Cybertruck Life says, you guys are great. I referred a guy with a dead Model S to you yesterday. Thank you. And yes, we are continuing to use these types of tools into the later platform vehicles. So yeah, once the plan works, you stick with it.
There was, just to share another story that just came to my mind. We actually had, this is a Model 3 owner who's stranded on I-10 in between Phoenix and California. There's a big spread of desert, nothing.
I remember. Yes.
And he was stuck on like at the halfway point in the middle of nowhere. He called and said, "Hey, I need help. I'm getting this car. The car just won't run. It just says there's an error and it won't run." He's stuck on the side of the highway. I was able to remote in his vehicle, assess what the issue was. He was able to make some adjustments, and he was able to get it running enough to go about 30 miles an hour. He got to the next exit. At that time, we called the service center that was the closest, arranged an appointment, and provided all the error codes and stuff I provided to him to give to the service center. And like when somebody has an issue like that, what do you do? I'm stranded, I don't know what to do. Well, I said to get to the service center, get your car there, you'll finish your trip because he's going out to San Diego. Have them provide a rental, and while you're out in San Diego, they'll do their repair, and when you come back on your way back, you'll pick it up. And that's exactly what happened. And so he was just grateful for that.
Teamwork and partnership with Tesla. Yes.
So it's been
Powerful
great
stuff.
Yep.
And the customer wins and benefits.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I've got an image I'm going to throw up here, Jesse. This was a funny one. This one came to us from a customer, and she asked, why is this lit up on my Tesla Roadster? we scratched our heads. We live in Phoenix, Arizona. So tell us about this one, Brad.
So I didn't know. I haven't seen this symbol. So in the service manual, this is in there, and I found it in the service manual. And this is a light that comes on when the external temperature is below freezing, basically, below 32 degrees. It'll come on. You'll see this. And that's just kind of more of an awareness of, because I said, is it a warning that something's wrong? No, it's more just a notification to be aware that there's a below freezing environment out there.
They call it a frost warning.
Yeah, frost warning. Yeah. Yep.
So that was another application of that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get rid of this. The other one I wanted to pop up here is we've got a car for sale in Texas. And this customer came to us with a brick Roadster. It had been sitting for 7 years. And it is a sport Roadster with about 30,000 miles on the odometer. The issue with this car was the owner had an exotic car collection, quite a few cars actually, deceased. And the family has been going through probate issues, which is oftentimes complicated, lengthy, and all of that.
Sure.
They came to us and said, this car does not run. It is bricked. We'd like to sell it. We don't have the title for it, and we're not sure if we can get it. But in the meantime, we would like to sell it as is. So we ended up putting it out on the Roadster Matchmaking site, and it was also reported that the original reason for it getting bricked appeared to have been some rodent damage. It had been sitting in a barn.
Okay.
And as a result of that, there would have to be some deferred maintenance taken care of as well. Again, anything that we receive with the Roadster Matchmaking site, we provide full disclosure. We are a matchmaking site. We're a dating service. We're the Tinder of the Roadster world.
Yeah.
If you can get your head around that. We do not participate in any financial transactions. We do not benefit financially from any of these sales. We just simply acquaint buyers with sellers.
Now, I want to interject real quick a question for Jesse. He's in the process of doing some updates to our Gruber Motor site. Have you put the swipe right onto the Roadster Matchmaking site yet?
I have not done that yet. I need
Come on,
to do that
Jesse.
still.
He showed it to me again this morning, folks. Within a week or two, we're going to have a matchmaking site that is far superior to what we have here.
Yeah.
The best part being is it's mobile friendly. I can't tell you how many times I've had customers that said, well, do you see the car? Do you see the specs there? No, I can't see any of that.
Right.
Because it doesn't show up mobile, but it will be, and all of that will be there. So anyway, getting back to this car, we have paused this car at this point, and we have removed it from the Roadster Matchmaking site. The seller is getting close to getting a title, it turns out now. And before that happens, we felt that it would be prudent to take it off that site at this point in time. They have a number of cars they need to process, and that's part of what has been taking so long. And again, the Roadster Matchmaking site is a dating service. Our collecting due diligence is related to creating a listing and sharing contact information. From there, you, the buyer and sellers, take over.
Right.
All right. Let's see. We've got another image here that Roadster owners will find interesting. This one popped up. This is the Roadster in space. At the Concours d'Elegance, when they saw our Roadster that we had there for display, they said, oh, isn't this like that one in space? And was that also one of Elon's early VINs? I said, no. This actually, the one in space is VIN 686. And if you want to confirm that, on our website under the census program, you'll see that this one is located in outer space, and the owner of this one now is Starman. So what happened was, what brought this to the forefront in the news again, astronomers at Harvard had just announced a discovery of a new near-Earth asteroid, and they called it 2018 CN41. But then they soon realized that this object was actually Elon Musk's Tesla Roadster in 686.
That's hilarious.
If you remember, it was launched by SpaceX February of 2018 to test the new Falcon Heavy rocket. And one of the reasons at the time that they sent the car up was they needed ballast. And instead of sending, a $30 million satellite, which no one would give them for an experimental rocket at the time, they decided, let's take one of the extra cars, or Elon decided one of my extra Roadsters, and it's about the right weight. Let's mount that on the top of this rocket, and we've got the ballast that we need. I'm not sure whether they realized at the time what kind of a marketing, experience this was going to end up being.
Knowing the Elon, I wouldn't be surprised if he thought
I think
that there was some
premeditated, right?
Yeah, that there was a chance. Although, I mean, just the fact that this is making the news 6 years later, here you go. Tesla's in the press again for this really cool, very esoteric reason.
Yeah,
right.
And that's all kinds of marketing dollars back to Tesla again.
So apparently what brought this to light again was the car had returned to a position which is approximately 150,000 miles from Earth in what they call the Earth-Mars asteroid belt, oblique in orbit, leading to its misidentification as an asteroid.
That'd be funny to see the face of the astrophysicist when he zoomed in. He's like, what?
Now, in all fairness, the image you see here is an AI representation of that Roadster badly weathered. No one really knows for sure what it looks like, and that would probably be a fun, thing to discover.
Do you, just to speculate, Elon wants to get SpaceX to get people to Mars to colonize Mars.
Right.
Why would he not want to take and combine the technology that he already has of catching rockets with the
Catching the
technology
Tesla.
of going outside of the near Earth orbit, and in 6 years when this comes around again, close to Earth, making sure that there's a Falcon Heavy that comes up out into space, grabs it, puts it into the rocket, and brings it home?
How cool would that be? Yes. That would again make the news.
I'm curious how withhold, because there the temperatures are a lot more extreme in shadow and light. How the Roadster is handling all that.
Well, the article says after years in space, intense cosmic radiation and cold has likely faded the paint, to say the least, and led to the rubber tires and leather seats becoming dry, brittle, and cracked.
Probably, yes.
Yeah. That'd be interesting to see.
Got a few comments there.
On Instagram, Sai the Curious says, hello from India.
Well, thank you for joining us.
And then Serhai Trush on TikTok says, hello, what do you think about Blue Origin? I think that's Jeff Bezos'
Yeah, it's
company.
Jeff Bezos, yeah. I mean, they had a successful launch this last week.
They did have a successful launch this last week.
So they're, SpaceX is better.
I find it. Have you noticed how the tech billionaires are starting to focus on space?
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, I think it's a fun place to spend some money on, I mean,
Well,
That's pretty cool.
there's billions to be had. It definitely, and I mean, NASA has had some explaining to do to Congress because they said, how come it is that it costs you $6 billion to launch some sort of spacecraft when you've got a private company over here doing it for a tenth of that?
Yeah. Good point.
That's a fair question.
The government program.
So we've got an image to pop up here. This is a 1.5 Tesla Roadster Console. And for those of you that have VINS 500 and under, you're very familiar with this. Those little plastic knobs, see this thing in the center right here? It's missing its knob because it broke, cracked, and it was loose, and eventually fell off and probably got sucked up with a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
But it's a common failure point. I'll bring up another image here, and I'll show you what what causes this. And here is the backside of a knob that's been compromised.
Seen this many times.
You can see that thin plastic D sleeve that goes over the D shaft. It's just not substantial enough. And those turning those positions, especially the fan control where you have a number of click stops, it requires a bit of torque to get it into position. So these knobs do not last. What we have on our e-store is a solution for you. And they aren't that expensive. These are billet aluminum knobs, like the ones you have on guitar amplifiers, for example. Very durable, and those knobs will most likely outlast your Roadster.
They would.
It's solid aluminum, nicely textured and knurled on the sides. You can buy a set of these. I think Brad's in the way there for $28.95. There you go. And of course, if you want to select your own color or your own style, we recommend you go on like Amazon and look for guitar amplifier knobs. Yeah.
What is the measurement of the shaft?
You know what? Off the top of my head, I don't know that, but that particular billet set was actually a small Allen set screw on the side.
Yeah.
So it will clamp right onto that flat spot on that, even if it was a different size.
And it's such a nice look too.
Yeah.
Totally, yes. It improves
so
the
much better
appearance.
looking than the plastic knobs.
All right. Let's see what else we've got for you here. We're doing a power steering conversion right now. And it is our first one. I've got a picture here for you of what it's looking like in the shop area. The unit to the left is the power steering unit. The one on the right is the steering assembly that came out of that sterling silver Roadster. The long and short of this is, if you find yourself fighting with a steering wheel in parking lots at slow speeds, and you do not have Popeye forearms, this may be the conversion for you. Traditionally, Tesla Roadsters, like like much of the other high-performance sports cars, lack an option for power steering because drivers like a pure, more direct connection with the road, allowing tactile feedback at higher speeds. In other words, you can feel the road, which is part of racing. But for those of you who prioritize comfort or finding the additional steering effort inconvenient, are now able to get something like this. We'll do some videos on this. We'll show you what the how it performs and get some feedback from the people driving it. But this includes a potentiometer for manual setting or variable steering assist. So you can actually dial in the degree of power steering that you want in that Roadster.
That's something else. Taking a sports car and have one finger driving with a sports car is wow.
Yeah.
A couple more comments we have. One is Art Culture Arizona. It says we saw Pete's videos about mechanics of the future. Now that's one of our more popular videos is the mechanics of the future video. And the mechanics interview and couldn't agree more. We would love to discuss some vocational type programming here.
Reach out to us at ev@gruber.com. We've had a few of the learning institutions like yours come to us with that request. And we have some insights that we would be able to share with you.
And then on YouTube, Highlander says, OMG, that picture of an original Roadster console. I could build that in my living room. As well, maybe it's because they did.
Yeah, good point. Another image here, Jesse. This is a portion of Puppy Suite, which is the Tesla Roadster software. And I've seen this on social media. We've had a customer that had this issue. After you get your 3.0 battery pack replaced in your Roadster at a Tesla service center, which, by the way, is still the only place that you can get that done, sometimes the CAC reads the old level. And people have asked, did they really change my battery pack? Well, you can tell because you get more range now, first of all. But there is a function that they need to run in Puppy Suite that resets the CAC. And if that hasn't been done, it will eventually settle into the new calculated amp hour capacity, but it takes a long time. By them running this in Puppy Suite, which all the service centers have access to, it will reset CAC and you'll see the new level immediately.
Okay.
So if you've had your pack replaced, it's looking like it's still, reading the old CAC, call your service center and ask them to do this software upgrade, which then recalibrates your CAC.
And just so you know, Pete, there was a customer that needed that. The service center was going to schedule them out a month and a half, get that done. But I was able to show them.
So we did it.
Yeah, we did it.
Okay. All right.
So that's another thing we do.
So you can call us and we'll do it for you as well. Wonderful. Have another Roadster here that I'm going to pop a picture up. This is VIN number 126. This Roadster just became available for sale. If it has that for sale at GMC icon in the upper left-hand corner, this was a car, or this is a Roadster that is in EV Preserve, which is our new electric vehicle storage facility. At this point, it's about 97% Roadsters and 3% Solo.
Yeah.
Oh, and a LaFerrari thrown in once in a while.
There's a Model S in there.
Oh, that's right. We've got number 3, Founders number 3. For those of you looking to find a storage facility for your electric vehicle and feel uncomfortable giving it to an ICE-type storage facility where they don't always follow charging protocols, and I say that with a lot of experience because we get Roadsters bricked at times from the ICE storage facilities where somebody forgot to charge the car. We will take care of that for you. We have just inserted OVMS. Tell us about that.
So I was in charge of the OVMS project there. We just finished up a good amount of the vehicles. We have about 16 vehicles right now that have an OVMS module installed in the vehicle. What that does, that allows us to do is to monitor any error codes that come up at any time. The app will pop up a notification and tell us what the error code is, and we can check it out. Whether we're there or not. We can monitor battery levels. We can see which cars are on charge and where they're at. temperature readings, 12-volt voltage level, a lot of different things, and it's been helpful.
And all of this information is available on your cell phones, customer cell phones, not just our internal monitoring.
You'll see the same thing we do. Yep.
So it's that's the additional service that we offer at EV Preserve is OVMS monitoring for all the Tesla Roadsters. The advantage there is if you're on vacation, gone for 2 months, and you've got your Tesla Roadster at an ICE-type storage facility and they're not charging the car, no one's going to know that until you get back and you find a brick Roadster.
Yeah.
With this capability, not only will we stay on top of the charging protocols, but we will also feed that information continuously to your cell phone so that you'll be aware that your charges or your car's SOC is below where it should be.
Well, yeah. I mean, we even had a car this last week. We've already had our first car send us alerts. Usually it's, we come in every few days, we make sure that the charge is good, and we check the cars. And in this case, it was only, a day after?
Yeah, the day after we set it up.
The day after we set it up, the car started reporting some sort of issue, so we were able to immediately get the car and begin identifying the issue.
Yeah, over the weekend, I saw prompts of error codes, and we were able to address it yesterday.
Yeah.
Really nice. Yeah.
And the best part is if you have a problem at EV Preserve or your car is ailing in some way, the service center is about 300 feet away.
Yeah.
So you don't have to transport your car across country.
Yes.
But anyway, this particular car, VIN 126, is currently for sale. There's a tiny bit of deferred maintenance, all of which will be described in the description. One of them is an interesting one. There's a compression fracture on the driver's side quarter panel. It's about a 2-inch depression with a little crack. And so we asked, what happened? He says, my nephew threw a croquet ball at it when the car was only a year or 2 old, and so was he. So anyway, we did mention that, full disclosure, and the car's available. It says email a bid right now, and I'm asking the owner to give us a target price because we find that the cars sell better if there's an asking price involved in that.
I just wanted to add, Pete, on the OVMS. In the app as well, you could see the location of the vehicle at all times. So you can also see it where it is, and that's a nice kind of assurance that people have where they know where their vehicle is located.
And we do tend to move the cars as well so that we don't flat spot the tires. So we take exquisite care of your Roadster. Instagram Art Culture Arizona says he will email us later today. Thank you. So the image behind us, I asked AI to give me a anemic Tesla Roadster, one that goes really slow, one that doesn't have much power, and usually it's pretty disappointing. You have to go through 2 or 3 dozen images before you get something that rocks your world. This one hit it first pass. In fact, if you're noticing over by Mark, on his right ear, there is a charge port for the first time in an AI-generated Tesla Roadster. There it is.
Can you pull that up on your laptop so I can show it without you guys in front of it?
That would probably be better. Yeah, we'll get our heads out of the way. All right, let's go to images here. Out of images, I should say.
And we'll just go to the background. Yeah.
Go. All right, should be up, Jesse.
Zoom into it.
See.
Yeah, just click on it.
Just click on it. Yeah. Yep. And scroll down a little bit. Do the side.
I don't have a sidebar on that.
No, yeah, click on it first.
Click on it.
On the image.
On the image.
And then see the bar.
Oh, the scroll bar.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. It's only got 5 spokes, though. You notice that?
I did.
There's a problem
I
there,
did.
right? And then let's use the scroll bar and get to the front grille. It's got a combination 1.5 and 2.5 front grille, but again, this is AI, which hasn't been able to render anything decent since it came out in February in terms of images, or at least accuracy. Remember we did one of Trump the other day, and he had 6 fingers.
Yes.
But the reason for this image, and let's get back to that here for a moment, is that back to images folder so I can see where we're at. This is the main theme of this podcast, which is the original first generation 3.0 battery packs. Not the first generation packs, but the first replacement packs, and how they're going anemic. We've got a car in the shop right now. It actually has a top speed of 40 to 45 miles an hour, and it takes forever to get there. You're not going to do a freeway on-ramp blast with that car.
Right.
It is a first-generation pack, and it is declining. So one of the things that we did was we did a diagnostic workup on it. We put a laptop in the car, and we watched the current and the voltage coming from the battery to see what was happening when we did a 100% throttle call. And on a normal 3.0 pack, the motor current will be around 790 to 800 amps. In this particular Anemic Roadster, the amperage was 170 to 200 amps. So clearly much less power available. Amperage is power, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Voltage, on the other hand, was also compromised. At 100% throttle call on a healthy 3.0 pack, it's 304 volts, or in that neighborhood. In this particular Anemic car, it was 200 volts. So now, armed with this information from this DMC GUI package or software that we did this diagnostic with, we're now able to give Tesla some data about what's going on with this car.
Yep. Helpful data. Yep.
And I think we have 3 of them in the shop right now are suffering from this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of them actually came from California. It was the first time that we have seen one of 99 bricks that was not just at 0. That's what happens when they get hard bricked.
Mm-hmm.
But this one actually had a negative voltage.
Yeah, that's
Started
right.
off at minus 6 volts. Well, how's that possible? Battery polarity isn't going to change. The chemistry isn't going to alter, you know? And by the time we took out that sheet and we did a deep dive into that brick, we found that it had gone to minus 12 volts, only to realize it wasn't taking a charge at all. It was an open circuit. There was no impedance or a very high impedance.
Right. It was very high impedance in that case.
Yeah.
It makes it look like it has negative voltage. That's what, when we were first looking at this, we were getting these rumors almost is what it was like.
Yeah.
People didn't believe that one person would say, my Roadster doesn't drive like it's supposed to. And other people would say, yeah, you're just on crack or something. You're crazy. And we got one of those first ones in, and we had to do some deep digging to find out what was going on. For us, the key actually goes back to our Gruber Power Service days.
Yes.
In 2014, we received a batch of high-rate UPS batteries, installed them in the field, only to find that these batteries were failing as little as 2 months later.
All over the United States, folks. Okay, picture this. Data centers.
Yeah.
Critical operation. Uptime needs to be near 100%. AI, co-locations, that sort of thing. And here batteries were beginning to fail.
Yeah, and the strange thing is our field engineer would go out, they would do a test on the battery with a Midtronics tester. Midtronics makes probably one of the top 2 testers in the marketplace, 2 or 3. And we'd do the conductance test, the battery would test fine.
Mm-hmm.
But the symptom that the customers were giving us was, hey, you told us, and we have a system that's supposed to have 30 minutes of runtime, we got 5. And what we found was that the batteries had not been properly filled with electrolytes.
Electrolyte, yeah.
And the batteries, as a result, were experiencing high impedance problems. And they were reporting under no load that they were at 100%. And the conductance was fine. The resistance was fine. And those are the 2 main tests that you get from these high-end testers. And the voltage was fine. But as soon as you put that battery under load, everything just sagged down because there really wasn't any electricity in the battery to be able to give. We applied that same theory to the Roadsters and discovered it and thought, okay, if you do a 100% throttle call, will that cause the problem if it's impedance? Sure enough, that's exactly what it was.
Now, in all fairness to Tesla, these are the types of failures that you cannot extract during validation testing easily,
Correct.
at least. They didn't know that years down the road, these packs would be anemic and that they would fail this way. Had they known, they obviously would not have allowed them to go into cars.
Yeah.
The same thing with our UPS battery vendor. They didn't know that the factory that they had subbed out that work to, I think it was in Vietnam, was their production processes had not matured enough to understand what the electrolytes need to be in those batteries.
Exactly.
So, again, Tesla did not know this was going to happen. Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
But
Pete, I don't know if on Friday, this past Friday, I don't know if you heard about this. Our engineering team is looking at through a brick, trying to identify why this one cell was reporting negative voltage. Is because it was installed incorrectly.
Yeah.
You know, so there's things like that do happen. There are anomalies because we don't see it very often, but it's pretty interesting. How do you get a negative voltage? Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, it's interesting that 16 years later, you begin to see some production failures.
Yeah,
you know, So the upshot here is this pack now is going to go to Tesla, and they're going to corroborate our findings, and they generally make it right with the customer.
Yes.
Yes.
So we've got a few comments here. TikTok, imagine in 10 or 15 years, will it be an option to retrofit full self-driving to the original Roadsters? Possible.
Hey.
I'm not going to say never.
Yeah. Personally, though, I'll weigh in on this. Sports cars. The experience of driving a sports car, I don't want somebody else doing my driving.
Yeah.
I want that tactile feel. I want the cornering. I want to feel the G-forces. I want to be in control of that vehicle. Now, if I've got the family and we're visiting and all of that, FSD is fine.
Yeah.
What if they include that in the new Roadster whenever that does come?
Well, I won't use it.
It's always an option. FSD is an option.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like you have to use it.
So I've got another image here for you. And this was a fascinating lab finding. First of all, our chief engineer is very talented, and he actually can take a board like that DMC board down there out of a Tesla Roadster PEM and find out of hundreds of components what's wrong with that board.
Yep.
With or without power oftentimes, too, without firing it up. What he found in this case was, and I'm going to give you a different picture here, and he works under microscope, by the way. This has a lot of medical metaphors in our business. I'm holding a chip there. It has 6 pins on it. They're wave solder type pins. And what he found after 13 years of this board's existence, one of those pins did not hit the wave solder, and it was laying against a pad. There were 2 pads, one on the chip, one on the board, and it had enough pressure apparently to make a connection until 13 years later when it began to go intermittent. Ken found that and found that pad never had any solder on it.
Wow.
That's the kind of excellence and work that we do in our Tesla Roadster engineering lab.
EMC board right there.
That is, yes.
You know, it kind of reminds me of the old man that repairs a ship, charges the Navy $10,000. and then and they're like, you came in, you looked at the pipe, you banged it with a wrench, and everything was repaired. Why is that worth $10,000?
Right.
And his reply was, well, okay, I'll detail out an invoice for you. $9,995 is knowing what to do, and $5 is doing the repair.
All right, Highlander says, how is your Roadster repair experience going to help you with your newfound adventure in repairing humanoid robotics? I hear you're getting into the business. You know, we are anxiously waiting to purchase our first Optimus robot.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
And for a company like us, that's going to be, there you go. That's going to be the holy grail, is actually being in that business. YouTube, Clark Leakin says, can you service the Tesla-powered RAV4 or Mercedes SU? You know, we used to repair other types of EVs. And we're finding that in order to be great and excellent at anything, you have to focus.
Yeah.
So the answer is no. I'd love to do the RAV4s. Aren't enough customers, and the only thing we've deviated is into two other areas now, which is the real exotics like the LaFerrari, the McLaren P1. Those are hybrids. They have batteries in them, and we happen to have skills that allow us to repair those cars.
Yep.
We've also tackled the Electromechanica Solo project, and that's mostly because we believe in the technology. Let me show you one that I'm test driving right now. Got a picture here. Excuse my cluttered garage. I'm always embarrassed, but it's served me for 35 years. That's my wife's Model S. Look at that little single commuter three-wheeler Tesla Electromechanica Solo car. I think that this is going to be the future as well, because 80% of the time that you're on the road, you're by yourself. Why have 6 seats, 5,000 to 8,000 pounds in a big pickup truck, polluting and all of that, when you can do that in a single commuter vehicle like this? So this particular one we got running, it's one of the first prototypes, and it's going up to Vancouver Friday, actually. We do deviate a bit and get into other EVs, but we're completely focused on Roadsters at this point, and we'll continue to work on Teslas.
Yep.
Well, Brad, I want to thank you for joining us.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
It's always fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's been a joy.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the audience as well. Thank you for joining us. We do these every couple of weeks now. We gather enough content, and we will see you in a